Yo, welcome back again today, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the $100 million development center that Microsoft just opened in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, if you don't know, for the last couple of years, probably way longer than that, but Microsoft and Google have been in Africa and other probably American technology companies, and they've been trying to lock down Africa, in my perspective. From their perspective, they're trying to bring innovation. They're trying to give the internet to the world, to people that are too poor to have it or to be able to afford it, or people that are so out far in rural or country areas that they can't have internet. Fun fact is, in Africa, I think a little bit over half people, or at least half of the people in Africa, don't have internet from what stats show. So Microsoft is really making a big move right here. Africa is a very young continent when it comes to obviously the age and younger people being in the whole continent of Africa. Technology is a huge thing. There's a huge run right now and a big thing going on in Africa for natural resources and also for technology, the minds of people, because Africa already moves in such a way that it won't be hard for most people to move into a new framework or format when it comes into technology, to where other countries might be a little bit harder because they already have frameworks in place, to where migrating over to a new way of doing things might take a little bit longer versus a continent, or maybe not necessarily a whole continent, but countries within a continent, right? They didn't have the framework from the beginning, so it's easy to just give them something new and then more so accept it or just use it in everyday life. So Africa is a prime real estate for technology, for minds right now. Microsoft in Lagos, Nigeria, right? And I think they have 7 locations outside of America, if I'm correct. And so they're basically looking for young minds in Nigeria and Kenya and different places around Africa. And what they're going to do in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, is that they're going to use those young engineers, those young technology developers in Nigeria that will work for Microsoft to develop AI, artificial intelligence, to also develop a mix of reality and virtual reality, right? So sort of kind of like maybe augmented reality, like when you put on Google glasses or some glasses where you can actually still see the real world, but then also it implements in the virtual world as far as like information in your glasses, so you can see, right in front of you, the grass, the trees, whatever, but you also have information on the lenses of your glasses. And then also virtual reality as well for the future, and probably a lot of other things that Microsoft is not even telling anything about in the future. So what does this mean for Africa in general? From my limited knowledge, but I think I have a somewhat good grasp on it, but what does this mean, right? Of course, there's always people that's out here to do good. There's also people that are out here to do bad. But in reality, business doesn't really necessarily have good or bad. It does, but I'm talking about the actual framework and the basis of business. There only is, and then other people get affected by what the is, or the effect of what the company does. And so therefore, with Microsoft, the pros you could look at as far as Lagos and Nigeria, because obviously, if I'm correct, Nigeria is the most populated country, the biggest country in Africa. And so if you look at it from that standpoint, I think who will benefit from this? Nigeria as a country will benefit from this, because Nigeria has 218 million people, if I'm correct, maybe give or take some, right? America has 320 million. Let's just round it up, 320 million people, right? Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So America has almost 100 million more people than Nigeria. And the GDP of Nigeria, if I'm correct, is a little bit under $500 million. So I think it's around 488 million, give or take some, which is crazy to think about because they have 100 million people less in Nigeria, and the whole GDP of the country, right? Like everything, the investments of the country, the natural resources, the export, import, the investments, people, what they invest, all this type of stuff, right, is the GDP, what goes into the GDP of the whole country. It's crazy because America only has 100 million more people, but America's GDP is around, I think, $23 trillion, which is crazy to think about. So basically, you're talking about Nigeria's $500 billion, the whole economy. America is about 23 times more in their GDP than Nigeria, which is even just crazy to think about. But I said that to say this, is that when you have a company like Microsoft or other companies from different countries, as China is coming to Africa heavily, as we all know, well, a lot of us should know, with American companies like Microsoft, you got to think about it. What is the end goal of Microsoft, and also what is this going to do for the Nigerian people in Lagos and in Nigeria in general? Now, from the pro standpoint, it could create more jobs, right? Especially more so in Lagos, maybe not necessarily in the rural areas just yet, but it can create more jobs. It's going to advance technology in Nigeria to some extent, right? They're probably never going to give you as good as technology as what they have in America. It just is what it is. They're not going to give foreign interests something better than what they have in America. So you can already cut that out and stop living in a fairy tale land, because they're not going to do it. And the third thing is, it's probably going to help the economy locally as far as Lagos, Nigeria, maybe not even in like the poorer areas of Lagos, Nigeria, just at the beginning, but more so in the richer areas of Lagos downtown. If you don't know, Lagos is a huge city. I would suggest you look it up if you've never seen Lagos in Nigeria. There's some very huge cities in Africa. I know there's, unfortunately, some people in 2022 that still don't understand that there's some very huge cities in Africa, but also understanding the market. So what will this do? This will create jobs. This will boost the economy to some extent. This will boost technology efficiency within Lagos and hopefully within Nigeria, the whole country of Nigeria, and then trickling down to other African countries. Now, what are the cons of this? And this is kind of one thing that we need to really think about just in general always, because this is business, but also looking at the long term in the future. From an outsider looking in, also from an outsider that is an insider that's looking in, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? I'm always looking or trying to like inform my people, my viewers, is that this might be good for the short term, but for the long term, what will it do to the Nigerian technology community? Will it create a monopoly where all these foreign companies, like American companies, Chinese companies, firms, come in and they have the technology, and therefore everybody, it becomes a norm in the technology sector? And we know in the future technology is huge. Technology is already huge right now, but it is the future. Technology, agriculture, certain things are just the future and always will be. And so with technology, we got to be very careful, especially in Nigeria, because there's a lot of talented Nigerians in America and Nigeria as far as programming, engineering, technology overall, innovations in Africa. And if you have an American company that just comes in and swoops up all of the talent, then you can't develop your sector and your industry in Nigeria or in Africa. This is where it's a slippery slope, right? For further generations. Now, I said that to say this is that, of course, there's not just a monopoly on most markets to where one organization basically monopolizes on the whole industry. Like, there are some countries, of course, and there's some countries where the governments own different sectors. So of course there are countries like that, but there's other Nigerian technology companies. But if you look at the even the revenue and gross revenue of Microsoft, you're talking about hundreds of billions. And then you're talking about in Nigeria, maybe hundreds of millions. I think the richest Nigerian man owns a cement, the biggest cement company in Africa, if I'm correct. They make cement, and he's worth maybe, or at least net worth is around 14 billion. And the top 79 billionaires out of 100 billionaires in the world, he's number 80. So they're, to my knowledge, in the top 100, I think he's the only black woman or man, right, of African descent that is an actual in the top 100 billionaires in the world. I mean, I'm just trying to get you guys to understand right now, like how much further we have to go, and also understanding that sometimes you have to take a hit in certain sectors so you can develop it long term, which might take you longer, but then you call the shots long term because you have the interests of your own people or your own country, and a foreign company can't tell you what you can and can't do and when you can and can't do and have a monopoly. Now, what is this going to do for Microsoft? Of course, it's going to create more revenue for Microsoft. It's going to create more business for Microsoft in Africa that they might not have had in the past, right? Or at least maybe taking more of the demographic slice of pie and getting more money, right, for them. What is it going to do for Nigeria? It's going to probably be an economic boost, especially locally, especially maybe for the richer people in Lagos. For the poorer people, I really don't know. We'll see 10 years from now if any of this stuff has gone into effect, right? Especially with technology moving faster. But we got to realize and we got to be careful, because this same industry that we have to where Microsoft is coming in, and we already know the name that it has and the juggernaut that it is, a lot of younger people in Nigeria might be like, hey, I'd rather go work for Microsoft because it's easier. They already have the infrastructure, they already have the layout, they have the knowledge, they have everything that they need, that they can foster and grow a young Nigerian engineer or African engineer. But what happens if there's ever a disagreement between Nigeria and America, right? We all know what's going on right now in Europe, and it's very easy for somebody in foreign companies to say, hey, we're just going to pull out and mess up your whole economy. Maybe not necessarily your whole economy when it comes to Nigeria, of course, but I'm just saying that it could definitely cripple your technology sector in a big way, especially if a lot of people start to look at this brand name that a lot of people around the world, I would say the majority of people around the world probably know: Microsoft, Apple, Meta, which is Facebook, right? Amazon, all these companies. And then the development of those industries within your country aren't owned by people from your country. That's what I'm trying to say here, is that the biggest technology giants for the most part are from America. They're from Asia, right? Some from China, some from different places around Asia, some parts of Europe here and there. And so therefore, when things go down, when there's disagreements, Microsoft could always pull out, right? They could always be like, there's sanctions. Like, we don't agree with Nigeria right now. They could pull out. So I'm just saying, it's a double-edged sword. You want development as soon as possible as any country. You want economics. You want stimulus. You want to stimulate your economics, right? You want to stimulate your country. You want growth. You want positive GDP, right? Within reason. You want all these things, and I get it. But also, when you look at companies that are coming through and they're putting huge roots into your continent and your country, there's got to be a question of why they're doing that, because they know there's hundreds of millions of minds that are hungry in Africa, and engineers and people that will come up in the future that might make them rich, that in general could possibly get you crumbs, right, in the grand scheme of things, to make Nigeria better. Not saying that Nigeria won't get better, but I'm just saying that this is a big sector, technology, and then send a big chunk of the change back to America to make America richer and more powerful. So it's always like the catch-up game is what I'm trying to say. So it's a really slippery slope. Of course, the bigger any African country gets and the more money that is in that country, the more development and the more foreign powers and companies will come into those countries, just like in America. But when you start to look at the numbers and you start to look at the development of a country and understand that, Elon Musk, basically Tesla generates, and what Elon Musk, net worth is basically half of the whole country of Nigeria, maybe more than some African countries that are way more in poverty than Nigeria is. You got to start to think about this, like, when do you just start to develop your own sectors and reinvest in your own sectors versus letting foreigners come in and basically set up roots? Of course, you're always going to say there needs to be development in the country, there needs to be growth, and if a foreign company wants to invest in your country, there has to be some type of stability, especially with Microsoft coming to Nigeria, to Lagos. There has to be some type of stability for them to invest their money there, at least from like a visual standpoint, right? That you can actually see, hey, this is Microsoft, like downtown. Of course, we know companies invest in other ways that might not always be good, might not always be bad, and you might not always see who's actually investing the money and where they're doing it at. But I think in the long run, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing for Nigeria. I think that Nigeria should definitely, especially the government, and I know that the government has already incentivized a lot of like Nigerian firms and has helped them out, but coming through with such a big juggernaut like Microsoft, I don't know if this is going to be good, because a lot of people might just want to go to Microsoft instead of actually starting their own firms, or also just going into existing Nigerian firms that are based in Nigeria that are owned by Nigerians. So, of course, Microsoft is not necessarily owned by one person with the shareholders, different shareholders and all that, but I don't see this as a move to just be super duper nice to Africa and Nigeria. No, there's something that the West sees, and there's something that the East sees in Africa, which you already know: natural resources, a very, very big, abundant of natural resources from the minds of people in the young workforce in Africa all the way to the actual coltan in the Congo, right? Which is like 40 or 50% of the world's coltan is produced in the Congo, and the Congo is always at a poverty state, even though it's one of the most richest mineral resources in the world. Of course, you have to take the minerals out the ground. You have to have infrastructure to develop them. You have to develop them into a product and then sell them to the world to make probably the most money. But we already know that a lot of electric cars are coming this way, right? Who knows if it's the future or not? Some people says it is, some people say it's not. We'll see, probably, maybe so. But if that's the case, how do you think they're going to make those batteries? The same way that they make the batteries in this cell phone that I'm using right now, how do you think they're going to make the batteries, right? Between Australia and Congo, how do you think they're going to make the batteries? They need those natural resources. So you got to really watch about how people are investing, because sometimes how people are investing is not necessarily just for the good of the community. Sometimes it is for the good of the community, but it's for even a greater good for the person in the company that's investing, because they can see projections 10, 20, 30 years from now that a lot of people are not worried about, that might make them billions or hundreds of billions of dollars, versus other people that's like, you know, we're excited to get these things, and you should be, because it does create opportunity, but there's always a double-edged sword. So yo guys, that's all sort of kind of I got to say today. It's technology. I love technology, and I just thought this was really interesting that they invested $100 million. Google has been in Nigeria. They have a Google Nigerian, or Nigerian Google if you don't know, which is just Google in Africa. And then there's also other technology companies throughout Africa as well. So I just want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is a good move? Do you think that the future technology sector in Africa should be worried, because a lot of these foreign companies are coming into Africa trying to set up internet, trying to basically claim a big stake in a big area in Africa? Do you think that that's a big deal? Do you think that they're really coming to help? Or do you think that they're coming to help and to gain, which is business, so we already know that they are? Or do you think that they're just really coming and they know that they can invest a little bit of money to them that's going to make them a ridiculous amount of money, and also is going to secure technology and resources down the road for generations and generations? I want to hear what you guys think about it. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Or maybe me being on the duality side is not right. But guys, check out my NFT down there. The link is down there. Online African art, right? Collectible. Check it out. It's called Diaspora. Please like and subscribe. Turn on the bell notification so you get all my videos. Subscribe so you can get more videos, and also so the channel can grow. Also, add me on all social medias, which is African Network, which is Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok. Each one teach one. Always love each other. Always learn from each other. And yo, guys, until next time, peace. One love.